Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm your host. And joining me this week, we have a very special guest, Christine, aka Ivy Winter. That's what I like to go with. How are you doing, Christine?
I'm super good. I feel like that has now become my whole name. Somebody actually
Yeah.
said that to me recently. They were like, I can't think of your name without finishing, also known as Ivy Winter. And I was like, well, that's good. That's good. I'm getting in people's heads, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I felt so bad because last time you were on the show, I didn't think to ask you that question, and then you answered it on one of your other shows, and I was like, I should have asked because it was like a gamer tag, right?
Yeah. It was like literally, it was such a lame story. Everyone thinks there's like a story behind it. It was like I needed a gamer tag for, I don't know, Xbox, I think 360. Yeah, I think it was 360. And did one of those like random name generator things. It's like, I can't think anything. And I was like, this sounds cool. And then it became my name for everything. It was like there and PlayStation and Steam and Twitter and like before I even started the channel. So
Okay,
I don't know.
cool.
It just kind of stuck.
That totally works. I think that works just fine. It's better than mine because I tried to look up like when I was younger, I liked like Dark Wolf. I was like, I like wolves and I'm edgy. But the best one that I could come up with that Xbox would allow me that wasn't taken, and I kid you not, there were two options. The other one was worse. I don't remember what it was, but it was moist. So I have moist Dark Wolf. So it's like, I'm glad I'm not known. It's like Jimmy, aka moist Dark Wolf.
That could have been the worst word in the human language.
Is it though? Because if a steak or a cake is moist, that's a good thing, right? I've had to defend it a lot.
Terrible sounding word. It just sounds horrible.
I know it's not great. I know it's not great, but it's just what I have to do now. And they're like $10 to change it. I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna do it. Anyway, thank you again for being on the show. We can just talk about. I like Ivy Winter because it's cool and refreshing, just like you. That's what I think of it as. Like,
Thanks.
that's how I go with it. Yes, but we like to talk about movies, games, TV shows, entertainment, anything, music, theme parks, stuff like that. But I want to talk about a little bit of news first. Now, Christine, a lot of people know you for one thing, and it's your love of the Suicide Squad. So when we got this Birds of Prey information today, we got some Birds of Prey like teaser, and I know you're so excited about the Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Everybody is. We're stoked. Harley Quinn is back. Huntress is here along with Black Canary. Okay, I guess my question to you, Christine, is even if you haven't seen this thing, it's very brief. She posted on Instagram. Margot Robbie did. Our Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey. What do you think? Are you interested in this at all?
I like it conceptually. I don't have a lot of faith anymore. I passed on Justice League. I still haven't watched it.
Oh, really?
Passed
Okay.
on Aquaman. Though I heard mixed things. Like it seemed like some people really enjoyed it, which I think you could say more for that, I guess, than some of the other ones. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they need to just take a couple years hiatus. Let us forget any of this ever happened, and then surprise, reboot the entire thing and just make it so much better. I don't know. I don't know what DC's doing. I feel like they are clamoring to keep up with Marvel and instead of trying to do their own thing. And I don't know. It's just not working.
Yeah. I think this is another kind of them trying to get there first. It was kind of like with Wonder Woman. They wanted to have the first, modern female-led superhero. Now they're gonna do like a female group kind of superhero villainy type thing before Marvel gets the chance to do like a female-led Avengers or something like that. I don't know. The only thing that's interesting to me about this at all is just because I love Ewan McGregor. He's playing the villain Black Mask. And
I did hear about that. And I do like Black Mask. So.
I like Black Mask too. I think I like him way more after Arkham Origins. That was the one I got.
He was like a huge part of it. Yep.
Yeah, and that's an underrated gem. I love Deathstroke. So Deathstroke is in that game a lot, and I fucking love Deathstroke so much. Anyway, but Ewan McGregor, I was like, oh, that's cool. But the problem is you have to like sell people on a bunch of new characters that weren't in Suicide Squad either. Like they didn't say like, let's just take Katana because we have Katana already, or anybody else from Suicide Squad. I can't remember. I don't know. It's coming out in 2020. I feel like Margot Robbie is going to have to carry this film. We'll see. I'm not saying that these other actresses or actors are bad. It's just that introducing like these new characters, it's so hard to do that.
Yeah. And then I also feel like, I get what they're doing with the whole like female led thing, but we kind of had a Marvel film that already showed amazing, strong female characters, which was Black Panther.
Sure.
I feel like a lot of them outshined Black Panther himself, like
Yeah.
T'Challa. And so, even though that wasn't the focus of the film, and obviously now we have like Captain Marvel coming out, um, they did such a good job at like showing these women who felt real and authentic, and it just was so different. And I feel like now, like, even though, yes, they get what they're saying, is like, oh, we're the first to do this like ensemble female villain thing. There is that precedent of like, how are you going to show them? Is
Yeah.
it just going to be a bunch of like sexy Batman villains running around but no substance? Because you just can't do that anymore.
Yep.
Like, it's going to be 2020, guys. Like, come on, you know? So I think that is kind of going against them, or at least that's just something that they're gonna have to rise up to the challenge, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it. Also, it'd be nice to watch these like villain-led super like powered movies without them constantly referring to themselves as the villains. That was my
Yeah.
biggest problem with Suicide Squad. They're like, "We're the bad guys," and I'm like, "I know you all have bombs in your necks. Like that's we don't we know. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's we'll see." And I thought like the isn't the full name like Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of Harley Quinn or something? It's like some.
Is it?
It's I
That
don't know if
is
I was
dramatic.
I don't know. This seems very strange to me. Plus the fact that like Joker's kind of all over the place right now with the Jared Leto version and the Joaquin Phoenix version, and I
How are
just
they explaining that? Is that like different?
yeah.
I don't even know.
So a while ago, DC came out and said the DCEU was never a phrase that they had. A reporter had made that up for the DC extended universe. They are calling
Huh.
themselves the worlds of DC. So it's like the
Okay.
comics where it's like, oh, there's a bunch of different like universe and timeline and stuff. That's fine and that makes sense. But I don't think that was the original intent. I think that's the
Yeah.
fallback. Like Marvel didn't come out and they're out like, all right, well, we have also multiple different timelines. Like, no, we have the one. This is our thing. It might not always
Right.
make sense with the Netflix stuff, which I feel like after Predator came out, I'm just waiting like 2 days. They'll be like, and Predator's canceled. And it's like, it's like bye. Like, yeah, I don't know. Have you been watching any of those, by the way? Those Netflix Marvel shows?
No, but it's funny you bring that up because I might have written down something in my opinions
Yes,
about
yes, yes. I can't wait. Oh yes, because it's 100. Yeah, it's our 150th episode, which is so cool that you get to be on for this because we'll do the quarter
also
yell. This is
50. Jeez.
yeah, I know. It's you're telling me every week, 150 weeks. Oh man, it's super fun, especially when I like go to Disney and like try to I'm like, all right, so how can I like do this?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I would love to do one just in the park like this. Just carry my Yeti
I
around with
mean,
me.
that's when you get those 15-minute podcasts, me and Rob, because it's like after like both times that we did it when we were there, it was like literally after a full day. I was sick. He was kind of sick. So there's a lot of coughing that he had to like edit out. And then we're exhausted and we're just like sitting at a table in the Fort Wilderness cabin, just like, okay, we just let's just go, you know.
I loved it. I like it because I felt bad. I wish I could have just told you guys as a fan. I was like, just don't do this. Just go enjoy. Because like I pictured you huddled together outside of the cabin doing the first one where you're like, all
We
right, we're
were.
about to go. We got to get out here. Like, we should talk about something for like 10 minutes. And I was doing this. You guys got me through the rest of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, by the way, because that game got so grindy for me at the end.
It did
I
get
would miss a
grindy, yeah.
few weeks, and I just like have you guys playing while I'd play it, and I'm just
Nice.
like, this is just how multitasking, you
Yeah.
know. But yes, Birds of Prey. We always like to do this thing called the hypometer here, Christine. So you got it from 0 to 100 degrees. How hyped are you on Birds of Prey?
um I'm gonna be nice with this number. I feel like it's nice. 45.
Dang, that's pretty good. I'm gonna put myself at a 20 myself. It's pretty chilly. It's pretty chilly, Christine, and I'm coming from Minnesota here, so I know
Yeah,
what
so you
cold
know.
is. Yeah, we'll see what this is. I feel like DC's throwing a lot at the board and seeing what sticks. But I just read something that Aquaman is now the highest grossing DC film of all time, passing The Dark Knight Rises. So $1.09 billion.
What?
Ah, crazy, right?
I can't really.
Yeah, believe it or not, it crushed overseas. And that's not supposed to be an Aquaman joke, but seriously, it did. It did. It's done very Christine, you should check it out. It's not that bad. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty
It
crazy.
might be an Amazon Prime rental. I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm gonna go see it in theaters, but
that's okay. Yeah, I get that. That's fair enough. Yeah. Now there's another thing I want to talk about. It's a little bit older, but I know you brought it up, and you kind of you have a pony in this race. We're talking Oscar nominations.
Mm,
Toscan. Uh, I'll be honest with you, Christine. The last good year for the Oscars was 2003 when Return of the King won like all the awards because they snubbed it a bunch throughout those years. And
mm,
they played that music all night long. Old Petey Jackson was running up and down those stairs.
yeah. Yeah.
It was a great night for me because I was like, it's about darn time. So which movie out of these is the one so people know that which one you're really excited about? I think you kind of alluded to it earlier.
Definitely Black Panther. Definitely. And I know that there's a lot of like, there seems to be a lot of controversy about it being nominated, which is weird because I feel like we've been talking about the possibility of it for months.
Sure.
So I don't know why all of a sudden people are just like, oh, Black Panther was, it's like we've been talking about this, people have been considering it for months. And then I think when it was nominated for a Golden Globe, was when it got more serious. I guess people were like speculating, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool? And then they got nominated for the Golden Globe, and people were like, oh, okay, this is more serious. And usually, when you're nominated for that, it is a good indicator being nominated for the Oscars. Um, I don't know. There's like a weird controversy that I was not expecting because
Yeah.
it's strange. Because when the movie came out, it was all anybody talked about how wonderful it was, how much they love it, and how culturally relevant and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, it getting nominated, there's other people who are like, man, well, it wasn't that good. I don't think it deserves Best Picture. It wasn't that good. And
Sure.
it's just like, wait, what? How did we all just like shift so drastically?
Yeah, I think people once you get a little time in there, I think if Black Panther would have come out in November or
Mm,
December, I think because people were I saw that screaming about Into the Spider-Verse being nominated for Best Picture. They're like, not even doesn't need to even mean to be animated. It should just be Best Picture over Black Panther. They were saying it's a superhero film that deserved to be lauded
that's
more than that.
that's a fair argument.
Which I will be honest, I still have not seen that yet.
I only just saw it like 2 weeks ago, not even a week and a half ago.
I remember hearing you saying that. And I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one, but I got forced into watching some of it at the end of Venom, and I felt kind of angry about that. And to be honest, the art style, I'm sure it's great in the actual full film, but there was
Mhm.
something it's a little weird to me. There's a lack of like the fluidity or something. And again, I'm probably a minority here. I'm sure I'll love it when I see it. I still haven't seen it. I thought the same thing you thought with Aquaman, though. I was like, I can't wait to stream this one day. Like when I first saw it, I was like, it
Right.
blew up. People just like rallied
I
around
think
it.
it's worth seeing on a big screen.
Okay.
I think that visually the animation is absolutely gorgeous. Um, I said before, I think that in the TTA podcast that it was like the most visually stunning representation of New York ever. Now, granted, that's almost kind of unfair because it's
Yeah.
a drawn version, and I live here. I know how gross it can be here, but
Yeah.
but it was just gorgeous. And I mean, has just such a great story. There's a lot of heartfelt moments. There's so many funny moments. I actually almost wished, I'll just say this without, ruining anything. When they do start to bring in some of the other characters, because we know that happens, it happens later in the movie. And I almost wish that there were certain spider people, I guess you could say, right? Because I'm like, well, I can't see
Spider
Spider-Man.
humans.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Who had more like screen time
Sure.
because I ended up just loving them so much, and I was like, oh, you only came into like the last half of the movie, but I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Voice acting was incredible. Like it was. I went in with no expectations of like I don't know if I want to watch a Spider-Man animated movie, especially like coming off the video game. Not to say I'm tired of Spider-Man, but it was just like, and then I watched it and was like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's the hard thing now for me is like going into this. It's like I can't. It's gonna be harder for me to disconnect from the hype because it seemed like Sony paid a bunch of people, and I know they didn't, but like it was like
Came
my
out of
Twitter
nowhere.
feed. Yeah, people were
Yeah.
just like, "Go see it. It's the best film ever. It's the best thing ever." And I was just like, in all caps, I'm like, "Everybody, here we go." Like maybe I would have been that way if Twitter was around when Lord of the Rings came out. I'd be like, "It's like 12-year-old Jimmy's like, it's the
You would
best."
have.
But anyway, back to Black Panther because I will see Into the Spider-Verse and then I'll probably message you about it, be like, it's pretty good. Do you think Black Panther was the best superhero film of last year?
Yes.
Okay.
I so This is another thing we'll get to a little later. I saw some arguments for Infinity War. I have feelings. What else even came out last year that was superhero related?
That obviously, like we talked about before, Aquaman is the other big one.
Infinity
Uh,
War, and was Venom last year? I
Venom
mean,
was last year. Yeah,
okay,
technically. Yeah.
okay. So yes, it's funny because some people go, well, like, The Dark Knight deserved a nomination. And it's like, yeah, I totally agree, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So like I don't know why we're harking back on that because I
Yeah.
agree that is a better movie than Black Panther. But unfortunately it didn't happen for some crazy reason. I think it's not going to win. That's what I keep saying. Like, it's not going to win Best Picture. It is nominated for 7 Oscars, which is insane.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a lot of things on there. I was like,
I'm
wow.
hoping that it wins for Best Score because that score, I still listen to it. Like, I think it is phenomenal. And I hope it wins for costume design. I don't think it's going to win for Best Picture realistically. I've only seen, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 other of the nominated, so I can't really say like who I think it'll be. But I just think seeing a superhero movie nominated, taken seriously, and celebrated in that sort of way, I think is awesome. So I feel like for all of these people who want to nitpick and this should have been it or whatever, like, guys, let's just come together and just enjoy the fact that there is a superhero
Yeah.
movie up for Best Picture. It is mind blowing. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's true. You make a good point. You definitely do. One thing I want to mention back to what you're saying, you mean the score insofar as like the music behind it, not necessarily the soundtrack, even though they're two different
Correct.
things.
Even though I think that's fantastic too. So yeah,
Yeah.
the soundtrack was basically the album that Kendrick Lamar put out, which was
Yes.
essentially a Kendrick Lamar album.
Yeah.
But it was for Black Panther, which I think is so good. Because he pulls a lot of the music from the score into creating his beats. It's just brilliant. I feel like Kendrick Lamar is just a genius. But I'm talking about the actual score.
Hmm.
And the more that I listen to it, there's just so many like great cues for certain things that are happening. Like, it's just so good. I love that his whole like theme is so with the horns and it's so like big and amazing. And I
Yep.
don't know. I think it's fantastic. I know that that one song from the soundtrack, All the Stars, is up for best song,
Yes,
but
it is.
I feel like Lady Gaga's gonna win just because
Yeah, that's
everyone's been talking about that movie, which I haven't seen yet. I'm a big Lady Gaga fan. I somehow did not have time to go see this movie, and I'm sure she very much deserves it. But I kind of feel, to me, she's a shoe and win for that. I'd be
yeah.
surprised if it was Black Panther or Mary Poppins or any of those other ones.
Yeah. I also love because I did listen to the score a bunch too because I love the Killmonger song and I
Oh, it's
remember hearing that in that museum part in the beginning and I also really love the fact that the guy who did this Ludwig Göransson, it's
Mhm.
like you have all these like people who are around it and I'm not familiar with Ludwig but like that name right there and that it seems like the most Scandinavian name like ever and I
It
love that
is.
this person still got it though like they
Yeah.
came in and they're like this is
Apparently he like traveled to and lived in Africa for a while to like create the score. When I looked him up, he apparently also scored, I don't know if he did the second one, but he scored the original Creed.
oh
So
really.
so you see the connections
He sees
there.
Michael B. Jordan and he's like, "All right, I'm in."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like that's my
Um,
guy. Ah,
but yeah, I mean that's somebody who is not obviously from the culture being represented and yet did such a beautiful job of understanding it. Like it's pretty amazing.
yeah. And for me with Black Panther, I think the same reason Black Panther got nominated this time is the reason Dark Knight didn't get last time. It's a good movie. It's just there's politics involved, and that's why they had that like most popular film category thing, which I
I'm
felt like
dying to hear.
they made it just for Black Panther. They're like, and Black Panther's the only one nominated. It won. Like
Yeah.
it's just, and I get that they have to kind of adapt the Oscars because they're losing people. And I think it might be smart to do stuff like that eventually, but also give these other movies their due. I just wish that like Infinity War got more nods, or even Mission Impossible Fallout, not really a superhero film, but
Oh,
because
what a fantastic movie.
thank
Wow,
you,
I totally forgot that that was
it's
also
so
last year.
friggin' good. We're gonna talk about that in my opinions, but anyway, it's just like that movie, and that movie is just so practical in so many ways, except the little helicopter the
Sure.
falling at the end. But
Can I
like,
also say, just quickly, the thing that impressed me the most about that movie while I was watching it, it's gonna sound like a weird nerdy thing, the sound editing.
what?
Is I'm telling you, there are moments where I realized like how they were shooting things and pulling sound out and using sound in scenes like while I was watching it. And I was like, I've never, this is so different and it's so good and it works so well for the scenes. Rewatch it. I'll after this, I'll call out a few scenes and you got to rewatch them because there are moments where you're just like, whoa, that was such a great use of like dialogue or music or whatever. Yeah.
Please. Christine, you just got way cooler, man. Like you're in the right place. I know, like for me, the thing that hit me, like it was in Rogue Nation, which is one that people forget a lot. They had that Turandot opera scene, if you remember that
Yes.
correctly, and they keep playing that, but they use that tune later on when he sees Ilsa Faust, and she says like "Run away with me," and they play that little cue in the background, and it's like, oh,
That brings it around. Yeah.
these movies have just gotten better with age. So
They
good.
have.
But they won't get nominated for anything like this because they're an action movie made by mostly Americans. Like, it's just not going to happen, which sucks because Fallout's really good, and it's not a superhero film, but it basically is too because you're like
I
this
mean,
one
Tom
man.
Cruise is the best runner
Yeah,
ever.
he's just he's running. He's like, oh gosh, we had a question a week or two ago on the podcast about who you'd want to put into the Avengers as just a normal person from another movie series. I was like, I want to put or just Ethan Hunt
Yeah,
in with the
Ethan Hunt,
team, and they're like, oh,
100%.
like
He would be totally fine.
just
Keep up
talking
with
with
all
this, oh, man, just thinking about him talking with just Iron Man or Bruce Banner about like things and watching Hawkeye and Black Widow watch him and they're like, yeah, I kind of do this thing and you do that thing, but he does things.
what
How
does
does
he do?
you're just a person like us, right? He's just like, yeah, there's a mission, I got to do it. It's just like you're a good guy. Yeah, but I'm not surprised. But it is cool that Black Panther made it in overall, even if I don't think it's the best superhero film this year. That's because the other one that I put there, Infinity War, requires a lot of prior knowledge, and it's like kind of if you walked right into that one, it doesn't stand on its own as well
Mhm.
as Black Panther. Black Panther is kind of its own thing,
Yeah.
so it's cool that it's there, and I get why it's there, and I'm glad that it's getting the chance to be along. So like these other kind of hoity-toity type of
Yeah,
films,
and it'll be interesting to see how it affects ratings. I
Yeah,
am really interested to see how much this draws people to watch, so
I'm hoping, and you know what? They're gonna come away with a win. I think at least in somewhere in here. I think they'll pull off a win. They've got nominated for 7 things. I'd be really surprised if they didn't win one of these things because they are deserving. It's a really cool film, and it's just nice to know that they campaigned for this. Like Marvel wanted this to get
yeah.
into the Oscars. They're like, come on, we're trying here, guys. Like just because it's a superhero film doesn't mean it's like too lowbrow and like whatever. It's like killer. I know Killmonger though, Michael B. Jordan did not get nominated. Is that
Yeah. I mean, I guess that was the interesting thing, right? Is like despite it being nominated for Best Picture, most of its other nominations were around production and music and not acting,
yeah.
which is interesting. You don't really see that.
Yep. That's just
Um,
politics. That's all.
yeah, yeah.
Like
So
Josh
I mean,
Brolin would have been cool too for like they should throw some villains in there, some good villains this year. They're not gonna do it though. I will say this though, I hope for sound editing, I just saw this pop up, A Quiet Place. I hope. That's kind of cool because that whole movie's
oh,
based
that movie was something. That was quite like I haven't had an experience like that in a movie theater. I can't remember the last time a movie like had such a different feel to it.
yeah.
And seeing it in theaters and having it be so quiet.
Well,
There
people are
was like
quiet.
somebody in our theater who dropped her phone and everybody jumped. And then she like apologized. It like fell out of a bag or a pocket or something. And then people were just like nervously giggling. And it was just like, Jesus, the fact that like something like that could just scare everybody in this theater because it's just so quiet. Like it was just such a surreal experience seeing it like in a theater with other people. A
That's so
very,
cool.
very good film.
I didn't want to see it in theaters because of that reason, because I've had so many experiences. Like I've been telling people, I went to see Aquaman and some guy next to me commented on like everything. I'm like, please stop.
Yeah, it's like I get it's a superhero film. Maybe you're a big Aquaman nerd, but please stop talking.
It was my fault. In the beginning, we saw the trailer for Endgame. Papa was like, "Oh, I haven't seen this in theaters yet," and I was just like, "Oh yeah, me neither." And then, like, I think that unfortunately validated every response.
Oh
Like,
no.
I want to be like, "I'm going to drown you," like, it's like, please stop. Not that Aquaman. It's like I'm hanging on every like, "Oh
Right.
no, it's a twist." Like, it's not
I
that
think
type
it
of movie.
depends on the movie. Like some movies, they invite kind of not, I wouldn't say commentary, but reactions, and
Yeah.
it's fun. Like I cannot wait, not to go off topic here, but I cannot wait to see the third John Wick
Yes.
because I want to see it. Like I told Rob, I was like, look, me and my husband are in, we're gonna get tickets, it's gonna be for this night. And I know that people are literally just gonna be like cheering
Yeah.
for what's going on screen. But I feel like that is a movie that like warrants it
Yeah. Oh, for
because
sure.
it's just a whole bunch of gratuitous violence. It's not like you're really missing any important plot points there. So
Yeah, well, like when the trailer, I think like the second one, and he's like, even in the movie, he's like, people keep asking me if I'm back, and I'm
right,
thinking, yeah, I'm back. It's like,
yeah,
that's the type of movie you're gonna go
right.
see. It's like, yeah, I'm pro shooting bad guys and saving dogs. Like, that's what I'm about. Yeah, man, I hope it's good. Like, I haven't seen those movies in theaters. I always saw them afterwards, and I'm
So
sure they're great.
I saw the first one a couple years after because people kept talking about this John Wick movie, and I was like, "What the heck is everyone talking about? I don't know what this is." Keanu Reeves, okay, whatever, and then loved it, and then saw the second one in theaters. I feel like if they pull this third one off, it might go up there as one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
Whoa, look
Yeah,
at that.
they gotta really pull like it's gotta be as good as the last two.
Oh yeah, they'll just keep upping it. Does that mean you'll be in for the TV show then?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it should just end as a perfect trilogy, but you
Yeah,
know.
the thing about the TV show is that they were gonna have it be in the world of John Wick. He might make a few cameos. It's like that Limitless TV show where it's like Bradley Cooper was like producing. It might have been in the first episode or something, but wasn't
Totally
like
about
in
him.
it.
Yeah.
In it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, man, it's just I tell people it's like that's why I love that and Mission Impossible so much. It's just that I love when you really feel it and like you see the training protocol for Keanu Reeves and like showing him going to like the gun
Yeah.
range and doing all this stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're like incredibly lethal now, even though you did it for a movie. It's like anti Neo. Like he's just like, I'm gonna do the fakest crap ever, and then just be like, revolutionary at the time. But now
Sure.
it's like now we crave like throw a gun, grab like a knife, and throw that. Use a book and smash it in a dude's face. And it's just like, yeah, I'm about that. Yeah, and Halle Berry trying to claw her way out of the weirdness of
Yeah.
uh, being Catwoman and Storm and all that jazz.
Yeah.
I hope she's in. Was she in two? I was trying to remember. Was she in two at all?
She's just a brand new character in
Okay,
this one, as far
cool.
as we know. So yeah.
I love the way he talks, like in these movies. Like it seems so weird, but he's like, it's gonna be different than last. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
he's just
Like I'm
worried or
literally
trying to kill her.
narrating for the audience right now. Yeah.
I love it. It's so good. Side note, we brought this up a few times. When you watch trailers, does the first 4 or 5 seconds bug you, where it's like the teaser trailer to the teaser trailer?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
It's why.
I don't know. It's just like, do they think us like humans were just like, oh, what we can't wait for this? Like it's like show the quick things to get your attention. Stay around. Like it's 2 minutes, guys.
Yeah.
2 minute thing. Yeah. Other one I would say on here. I just watched this. I'd use this on my time killers, but I just finished Black Klansman, and it's an that's an interesting one. Again, I'm not surprised that one is on this list, and I
Yeah.
think the most impactful part of it is the very end of that movie, which I thought was really good. Uh, did you have like because I know you watched it, Christine. Did you like the main character? I felt like the acting was off. Is that just me?
Not Adam Driver. We're talking
Not
about.
Adam Driver. Adam Driver was freaking great. Like,
Right.
yes.
Every time I watch another movie with him in it, I'm just like, man, he is really good. Like I always liked him as Kylo Ren, but then I started seeing him in more things. I was like, yeah, you're great. Yeah, I did. Why? I mean, I'd like to know how you
I
feel
think
like.
the way he delivered his lines sometimes felt like he was just reading them or something. It felt off. Like everyone else felt organic, but when he would talk to people, there was this disconnect. And that's a lot of this movie. If you haven't watched it, for people who are listening in, it's about this detective back in I believe the 70s who is African American and basically infiltrates the KKK via like just talking on the phone and using another one of his detectives to kind of take his place in person.
Right.
So I don't know if that was the problem where it was like he was trying to do like a fake kind of.
I think it kind of was. I think because he was trying to be undercover on the phone, then he was like hiding who he was from the girl he was dating. I like it never came across to me like as the actor he was
Sure.
going
Okay.
fake. I just felt like he was trying to play a lot of roles,
Maybe
right?
that was it.
Yeah, and so it does come off a little bit fake because
No
he's kind of
emotion.
fake his way through a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm not surprised to see that on
Oh
here.
yeah.
A
I mean,
powerful thing.
certainly, you know.
Yeah, but that ending though, man, that ending, I like kind of
Yeah.
was like,
Woo.
that was so
I
effective. I was like, yep,
did not expect that.
it was quick. I was like, oh,
Um,
what's happening?
and then I was watching at home and like my husband was half watching it. He was like doing something else. He does this a lot. He'll like play video games, but be like, I'm kind of half watching this movie. And then at the end, it just like grabbed his attention. And we were both just quietly sitting there. And I was just like, whew, thanks, Spike Lee. You always know how to just sucker punch a person with your movies.
Like, that's great. Did he do Inside Man? Did you see
uh,
Inside Man? I feel like I need to look it up because I meant to do this beforehand, and I was like,
maybe? I don't know.
did you see that movie ever?
No, of course, I've seen Do the Right Thing because I feel like they make that. Oh, he did do Inside Man.
Thank goodness, I'm not
They make
crazy.
that like requirement in like film class. And I've seen Malcolm X, but I never saw Inside Man.
Okay, yeah, that I just watched that one recently, and Spike Lee's got a very interesting like way of doing things. And there's one shot at the end where like they were talking about like editing and stuff, and like it seems so out of place for these two characters at the end of this movie to be in this shot where they're like kind of zooming down a hallway. I was like, what's happening? Like I
Yeah,
didn't. That part
he
was
is
weird.
very distinct. I mean, in Black Klansman, like some of the scenes are just like this is very bizarre, but also this is very Spike Lee.
Yeah. Yeah, like reshooting, like there's a few things that they do is like someone would put down like hang up the phone, but they'd show like the same shot from a different angle, or
Right.
the two guys hugging and it'd be like hug, like yeah, either way. Do you well you're gonna be there watching Oscars because you got a pony in the race, right? In a way.
Yeah, I actually probably will watch it.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Uh yeah, I probably won't. Visual effects. Okay, I'm sorry. They should have given one to Aquaman. It just bothers me. I love Christopher Robin though. I love it, but I don't
I thought
know.
I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
But I will say visual effects were really impressive in it. So I think it deserves it.
Question for you. Brad Garrett as Eeyore. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Okay.
I liked him. Yeah.
It wasn't. I just missed. I missed the old. Maybe I'm just too. I'm a stickler because like I like want the impersonations almost of like these other ones because like Rabbit and everyone else were different, but like Pooh and Tigger were the same because it's the same guy who does them, which is good because Pooh the lines that they gave Pooh are just so. My
Yeah.
God, the writing for that movie is just.
It was
On
very
point.
good. Yeah.
You watch. I mean, I'll watch Ewan McGregor do anything. That's why I watch Birds of Prey because he's in it and he'll have a mask on, but I'll still be like, yeah, he's here. Oh boy, he's like waiting for that Obi-Wan role. He's just like, I guess this is what we're doing now. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oscars. Well, for folks listening at home, please let us know like which Oscar are you the most excited about? Are you a big Bohemian Rhapsody fan, maybe? I don't know. Maybe you are. I'm not sure. Or Roma. I saw that pop up on Netflix and I was like,
Oh, I need to watch that. Everyone's been talking about that. Yeah.
I I don't know. I look. I'm such a pop culture type of guy though. I saw the trailer for it and I was kind of watching. I'm like, do I want to? I've been getting into like Planet Earth stuff though, so that's kind of like my
I know
like
it's great. Yeah.
fancier thing. Like not fancy, but you know what I mean. Like I can't. I'm not just watching people beat the crap out of each other
I can
constantly.
just imagine you there with like a cup of tea and some biscuits watching Planet Earth,
Yes,
learning some things.
and feeling horrible because the last 2 minutes of each of these blue planets or whatever is just like 2 minutes of just like, well, looks like the glaciers are starting to melt. And
Yeah.
oh, like I better turn off my Xbox right now. Like, like the polar bears, I'm the worst. Yeah, the guilt sets in.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we gotta move it right along here because we gotta get into something that I love doing. Every 25 episodes, we do this thing called the quarter yell, kind of like the quarter quell, but
Okay.
no kids are gonna be harmed or anything like that. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. We're not really big. I always want to call it like catching fire fans. Clearly not, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't even know the title of this book.
Catching
Red,
fire.
first one was a real page turner. I'll give you that much. But Basically, here's how it works. We each have 5 opinions. Sometimes that changes, and we just get to shout them out. You just get to shout them out into the world. You don't have to explain it, unless one of the other people listening in says "hold it," and then you have
Okay.
to explain just a little bit. So you get 2 of those. So 5
Okay.
opinions, 2 hold it's.
Got
Does
it.
it make sense?
Yes.
It's good. Good. Everybody at home is caught up. Christine, because you are a guest here, you get to go
Oh,
first.
great.
I'm gonna try not to burn through my hold it's because usually what I like to do is I like to preload the crazy and then have even crazier ones down the list. But
Oh, that sounds great. Well, this first one's going to upset a lot of people, but I could never get into Kingdom Hearts, and I thought it was kind of slow and boring, and I don't really get the hype.
I can understand that. Wow, that's so good, especially for shouldn't comment. That's not how the quarter yell works. All right, let me find mine because they're highlighted. Perfect. I'll softball this first one. Tom Cruise is a great actor. Okay, cool. She's not gonna fight me on it because some people really get pissed when I say that. They're like, "How dare you? Do you know what he's about?"
I'm
I'm
just
like,
heading on,
yes,
Okay, this one's gonna upset you.
yes.
The only reason that people think Infinity War is better than Black Panther is due to how it leans on its predecessors, but it's not as good on its own.
So good. Um, I got to hold it. You gotta give me more than that. Give me more. Why
I
is
mean,
it?
Infinity War was a fine movie. I've watched it a couple of times now. I feel like in more that I watch it, the more that it somewhere falls in the middle for Marvel movies for me.
Okay.
And I think that the reason that it is so strong is because it's this culmination of everything that has happened so far in the series. But if you remove that and have it stand alone as a film next to Black Panther as a standalone film, I think Black Panther is just a stronger movie.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's great. I want to change mine now and be like, Black Panther sucks. Like, just be like, gotcha. No, I get it. All right. That makes sense. Also, because Black Panther, yeah, it is more cohesive and it's got some tropes, some Marvel things that have worked. And I think Infinity War really depends on how Endgame does because, like, it's so hard to rate it.
Fair.
It feels like
Kinda
that.
gonna be one movie in the head of
Yeah.
a lot of people, I
It's
think.
like if you just show me Fellowship of the Ring, I might be like, this is incredible, but I still feel weird because it ended in a place where I'm like, what's
Yeah,
happening? Like, and then when you have the whole thing in front of you, you're like, okay, yeah,
yeah.
okay, okay. Thank you for explaining that. All right, is my next one.
Okay.
The first Mummy film, not the reboot with Tom Cruise. Let me just make sure. The first Mummy film is actually really great.
Hold it.
Yes, I knew it.
Like, wait, I think it's kind of fun, but really great, I would
Yeah.
not.
Yep. All right, let's okay. We're gonna get you indoctrinated into the mummy here. The mummy like church. So the first
Church of the
mummy,
Mummy.
Church of the Mummy, like Black Panther, a cohesive film that stands on its own.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna start using that for everything with you, Christine. I'll just be like, it's a lot like Black Panther. No. Uh we have a couple of protagonists that are pretty great, pretty well-rounded triumvirate here. You got Evie and Jonathan, brother and sister. British helps their case a lot, but then you've got like the antithesis, which is like the shoot first, ask questions later American,
Right.
Brendan Fraser, who I love him as an action hero because he seems like a normal dude. His response to most things is to just yell. He's not like the smartest dude in the room. Like if a mummy yells at him, he's just like ah, and then he just shoots something,
Right.
which is really fun. And the movie's kind of scary, but it's also kind of funny in its scariness. Like Benny, this guy, I think his name is like he's the little Weasley dude who's kind of trying to screw everybody over. He helps like Imhotep eventually,
Mhm.
and then he gets caught in a room eventually. And you know what? Brendan Fraser's like, "Bye, Benny." Like, and they just leave him, and then he dies. Like, as a bunch of scarab beetles get him. But it's like kind of funny, kind of freaky, and it's just like a fun little. It's a romp, man. It's just an action adventure. Shoot 'em up, a really good time. You feel good when you come out of the mummy. You're like, all right, that was
Alright, maybe I gotta go back and rewatch it.
give it a
But
shot. It's pretty good. I will say this though, if you do watch the next one, the CG for the Scorpion King himself is just atrocious.
I can imagine.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh boy, but the Anubis warriors, pretty damn cool. They're pretty sweet, man. On the Magi and stuff. Oh man, Christine, you go back, you find the mummy. You're gonna have a good time. Just don't watch that reboot. Oh my god, did you see that movie?
No, I didn't. No, I
It's
really didn't.
Ooh, it was a bad summer. It was a
Yeah,
bad
didn't
Tom
it
Cruise had a bad year last 2 years ago. That and Oh, the one where he was like the pilot for the CIA.
Oh, I liked that movie.
Oh, American Made. You liked American Made?
Yeah, it's
I thought it
fun.
was really long and boring. I'm
Really?
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's not one of my opinions. But anyway, sorry. I'm just we're friends.
Okay,
This is how we talk, right? Your turn there, Christine.
okay. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is the greatest sitcom of modern times, but it kind of annoys me that people are only just realizing this after all the hype of when it was canceled and saved.
Dang, I already used to hold it. Do I burn it on this? Nope, that's all right. I'm gonna let
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Green Goblin is the best Spider-Man villain ever.
I'm also like, do I want to use this on this?
Yes.
Because I'm having a big question mark on my forehead, but I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna wait for another one.
That means it's generally accepted now if you or I don't hold
I
it.
guess. um so the Bloodborne community at large thinks a sequel would be blasphemous because it's a perfect game, but I don't care and I want another one anyway so badly, and I think it's really pretentious to say that we can't have a sequel.
Oh, that's what people have been saying, huh?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's good. Even though I wouldn't say it's perfect, but that's not me. It's not my place. It's not my place. Yellow card. Christine, I forget if you're into anime or not. So hopefully this works because I think you are a little, right? No.
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, then never. I shouldn't use this one because you won't fight me on it. Well, okay, we'll save that one for last, or I might keep it. Space Mountain in Florida is better than the one in California. I haven't ridden the other one, so I can't really say. I don't want to
I
say.
mean, I 100% agree with this. So
I kind of figured I should have thrown that first, but at the
yeah.
same time, I heard you guys talking about it. I wanted to weigh in. The one in California, you're a toilet bowl. Get over yourself. Your music's great. The seats are great. That's about it.
That's it. Yep.
Get out of here. California Space Mountain. You're ridiculous.
Okay, and here's my last one.
Yes.
I never cared for the Netflix Marvel shows, though Lord knows I tried, and I have zero feelings about a lot of them being canceled. I'm in the camp of meh, doesn't matter.
I have to use it. Hold it. You gotta give us more. Which ones do you hate the most or have the most indifference towards?
Like all of them. I liked the first season of Daredevil. I tried my hardest with season 2. After the Punisher was like pretty much gone, I just didn't care anymore. I have heard that season 3 is really good because I think Fisk comes back or whatever. But I just don't care about these characters. I don't think that they're Marvel's strongest characters in general. I don't really care about the whole Defenders like thing. Also, it really annoys me that apparently New York is just a hellhole.
Yeah, Hell's Kitchen is the entirety of New York.
Guys, just because it's called Hell's Kitchen does not mean it's actual literal hell. It's actually very decent area of Manhattan with a lot of good restaurants. So that bothers me. But I can't do it. I can't. I've never watched them and been like, yeah, this is super exciting or great or whatever.
Okay. Excellent. That's very good. That changes things up here a little bit though, Christine. Changes things up. Last question for you though. You said you don't care about them getting canceled. Would you have any excitement if Marvel's like, hey, Punisher's coming to an actual MCU movie or Daredevil's coming to an actual MCU movie?
Maybe.
Like, no.
Because I just think part of the reason I don't like these shows, I feel like there's a lot of filler episodes. I feel like they're very, very stretched out sometimes. And if you're going to give me 2 or 2.5 hours of like awesome, then I'll take it.
Excellent. Yeah. Perfect. All right, Christine. I have one more, and I'm so sorry to do this to you. But many people probably know this about me. You might not. In the past, has it been 5 years? In the past 5 years, Bloodborne is the most overrated game that has come out.
Oh, hold it. And also, I hate you, but hold it.
Doing it. I beat Bloodborne. I'll say that much. I've beaten it.
Well,
and I had some great moments in it. When I killed Father Gascon, I started threatening his fake daughter in the game, too, because I was so angry. It was such a horrible, brutal fight. I had some big problems with Bloodborne. First off, the story. Where I know it's like lore-based storytelling, but like that just means like to me it seems like it's lazy, honestly, because it's like faces, people aren't talking, and they all the voice acting seems weird. I know it's supposed to be, but their lips aren't moving. Their faces are just like. Also, when you kill something, you can knock it around on the ground like a rag doll. That's really bad. Also, the game constantly reminds you you're playing a video game by saying "prey slaughtered" or getting little souls and stuff. Because like when I play a game, I like to be enveloped in a game, not constantly like, "Hey man, you just screwed up. You better go get your souls again and fight all the same guys again because they spawn in the exact same spot again and they do the same things again and again and again and again." It's like I want to get to the boss. I want to get to the boss. I got to run 20 minutes past all these guys. Dog jumps here. It's a game of memory. It's a game of memory. Christine,
Yeah, there is some memory involved in it.
yeah,
I mean, the reason they're trying to beat you over the head with the fact that you've died is to make you feel really bad about dying. So get good is my first word of advice.
I know people say that. That's a classic Bloodborne response. It's a lot of
Get
people.
good. And then when you do finally beat that boss that has killed you dozens and dozens of times, and you do get that prey slaughtered screen, I think it is the most wonderful feeling in the world. Also, I used to get so into fighting bosses that I'm pretty sure I wouldn't breathe. And then after I would beat them, I would walk over to my husband and be like, feel my heart. And it would be like probably 120 beats per minute. So if you want a real adrenaline rush, play Bloodborne. But you know how I feel about that game. I think it's absolutely perfect. However, I'm not of this weird fandom that like we can't have a sequel. I think
Sure.
apparently it's a very big like it's pretty universally like said like don't touch it, it's so perfect, and it's just like what, I want more of this. Like what is wrong with you? I want to experience more.
Perfect's a big word, Christine. I wouldn't say anything with flaws is perfect. Their faces don't move, Christine. They're not moving.
That's a choice.
Is it a choice though? Like seriously, is it a choice? How about the floppy bodies? Floppy bodies, Christine. I'm knocking this guy around.
The floppy bodies. I would like to run through them, and sometimes they would get caught on your foot, and then you just run with a dead body.
She's like, I love the clipping. The clipping is the best. No, I just had to because I know that you love Bloodborne. I've had so many people.
I'm seething inside right now, but
I
it's
know you are. I know. It's all right. You wronged me with Infinity War, so it's totally fine. We've both wronged each other. That's just how YouTube friends. That's how we work, I guess. Anyway, let's move into the next segment of the show that we like to call Time Killers. Yes, the games we've been playing, the movies we've been viewing, the TV shows we've been watching, all that stuff. Christine, there's a little game you've been playing recently called Resident Evil 2.
Mm.
What do you think of it?
Oh, I love it. I already beat Leon's story this weekend. Because, I mean, to be fair, they were never long games. I'd probably say, like, going through your first time, you're only going to spend maybe 7 or 8 hours for each character. So I've already beaten Leon's story. I've started Claire's story. It is a beautiful, beautiful reimagining, and I understand why they call it a reimagining and not a remake, because it's certainly not a exact copy.
Sure.
But man, it's just visually gorgeous. I mean, that Resident Evil, because it's the Resident Evil 7 engine, basically. It's just beautiful. Like it just, and I don't know, seeing the police station, such an iconic location in that way. Also, the zombies are so hard, like so much harder than they were. Whereas like in the old ones, it's like if you get a good headshot, done. I have shot some zombies in the head about 9 times and they still come at you.
Whoa.
Apparently like the difficulty kind of changes depending on like what you're doing and how well you're doing. I've heard if you're putting down a bunch of zombies quickly, they start to up it a little bit. And it makes it like, and I'm not even playing on the hardest difficulty. And it definitely makes it more of a, like, man, I just got to run by these dudes. Like I'm wasting a whole clip of ammo just trying to take one zombie down. Like I just need to keep moving. The whole Tyrant Mr. X thing is great, but so stressful. I forgot how stressful that is when you're just trying to actually do things and then he's constantly punching you in the back of the head. So that's not fun. But it's just, it's been a blast. Like I literally couldn't put it down. I'm excited to run through Claire's story. I'm excited to get all the unlockables. You would think like, because it's basically an old game come back to life, that it would be, I don't know, maybe boring or monotonous, or been here, done this, but it's great. It's so good.
Sweet. Question, like, is Nemesis, was he in this one or was he in 3?
third one.
Third one, okay, that's why I was confused. I'm not a big Resident Evil guy, so I was like, "Oh,
So to explain, Tyrant is a character similar to Nemesis, where he does come after you. Though I would say in three, he is almost ever present, whereas in Resident Evil 2, it's you do a certain thing at one point in the game, and then he is now following you until you complete whatever certain task, and that happens a couple of times.
cool."
Um, but it's a very similar concept of like he is always coming after you within that time. If you run, he can hear you. If a zombie screeches because it sees you, he can hear that. If you slam doors, so you're trying to creep around but do things like it's very difficult.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
you
intense.
can hear his footsteps. Like, so if you're really quiet, you can hear his footsteps like around the police station. You're just like, oh, great, he's coming for me. I don't know where he is, but I know he's coming. And it's terrifying.
That sounds fun. I would recommend setting the police station on fire. That's just me though. I don't know what we're trying to get in here. I'd be like, you know what? I'm not gonna go in there. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just gonna.
Be fair, there's not a lot of actual living like people in there, so you might as well just burn
Poking
it all down.
poking holes. I'm doing it. I'm coming for you, Resident Evil. No, I'm glad people love it so much. It's so cool to see that because like for me, like that would be like if they remade like Pokemon Snap or something like a game I played as a kid where they're like we take this thing that doesn't look super great and we're just like wow like that. It's like such a no fixed camera angles, which I'm glad they didn't do because like I know some people were like they got to do those fixed camera angles. Like yeah, but it's so hard for people to get into these days.
It would be cool if they made it an option. Like
That
you
would
could
be cool.
turn
Yeah,
that on. Like I
they'll,
would totally play it that
they'll
way.
come up with that. They'll come up with that, right?
Yeah.
Like in a month or two, they'll be like, "Oh, fix cameras if you want them," and people will be like, "Oh, do it again." Like make the zombies way easier though, because you'll be like, "I can't friggin' like what you die." Tyrant comes up behind. You're like, "Oh no." Yeah, that sounds really intense. So you're loving it. You're loving it.
Absolutely loving it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a recommendation from Christine. Excellent. I think most people who love Resident Evil are kind of already there. Like, why even like some of the reviews maybe they want to see, but at the same time, it's like,
I would say though, if you're a person who like never played the first ones, definitely, and you can pick it up at some point or like get your hands on it, like definitely play this one. Because it is such a beautiful update of the game. You don't need a nostalgia, I think, to play this. So
sure. Cool. Do you have a random score out of 10 you'd give it? Not necessarily random, but like if you had to give it something.
oh, I would definitely give it a 10. I
Okay, look at that.
they really outdid themselves. And they had to because people have been asking for this for such a long time. They basically couldn't screw it up.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Well, between that and Bloodborne, you're giving out a lot of tens here, Christine. I'm just kidding. That's she loves her games, man. That's nothing wrong. Wait,
My horror games. I think that's what we're really
what
looking.
did Spider-Man get out of 10?
What the game?
Yeah.
I would say 8.5.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. For me, I already said I watched Black Klansman, and Blue Planet, which is how I balanced it out or whatever. Because that movie is like, I did take my time with it because it's kind of intense, and I was just like, oh god, and it's kind of long. It's 2 hours. It feels long because it's like 2 hours of just like witnessing some really bad people. Like it's like,
Yeah.
ugh. So yeah. Also, I played Anthem demo over the weekend, which was a lot of fun. I had some,
Nice.
I had a lot of technical demo issues though in the beginning because like that first day I didn't get in until like 10 p.m. I was on Xbox.
What I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, and PlayStation 4 and PC people got in and, before that even, but a lot of like infinite load screens and there was a loading bar I couldn't even see, so I had to like reformat my television. So I was like, oh, there's loading bars. But once I got in, I was playing with my friends and we were doing the missions, especially the higher rank stuff. We had a lot of fun with it. It is really good. It feels really good. It looks really nice. I'm even on like not a super nice TV, but I can even like it looks really nice. I really think you have to play with buddies. Like they will bring people in to match make it with you if you have to. But at the same time, it was a really great and gratifying to play as the Storm, which is this guy I was kind of like floating above everybody, and I was freezing people. And then my buddy Joe's in this Colossus, and he would blow them all up. So we combo on stuff. So I'm like, all right, Joe, I'm freezing these freaks. Like you're gonna blow them up, and he's like, yep. And then do that combo, kill like 5 of them. And it was like, yeah, nice shot, buddy. So a lot of comparisons to Destiny. I get it, but I think this is a bit different, especially that you're using your abilities all the time. Not
Yeah.
Destiny is very much like use your grenade and your super. those are the differences between
Yeah.
all the classes.
Does it feel like a BioWare? Does it feel like a Mass Effect? I think that was what people were worried about, was like it was just gonna be like Mass Effect, but not, you know?
Yeah. I don't as far as like the story stuff goes, the first person Fort Tarsus stuff, I think that's where you're gonna get more of that Mass Effect feel. A lot
Mhm.
of people have been comparing the gameplay to Andromeda, but insofar as like the style of it, not like super buggy or weird. There's a lot of like jet boosting around and blowing.
Right.
It does, but it feels really good. Like, and I've played some other BioWare games where it's like Dragon Age, and those ones aren't necessarily known for their moment to moment action because it's more
Right.
like pause, move
And
people
their
around.
story and their yeah.
So but the gunplay feels really good and the abilities feel really cool. And as I've joked before, it's like they try to kind of be scientific with all of them except for like the storm, and they're like, okay, you're basically a space wizard, you're blowing stuff. There's just you just make fire at a place, you're just like fire, and it's like, how did that happen? You're like, just go with it. So I'm excited to try more of it. Hopefully, it won't be as buggy. And there's an open beta for it coming up February 1st to the 3rd. So if
Yes, that's what I'm waiting for, because I mean, I'm a big BioWare fan, so I feel like I will, for the most part, try and support the stuff they put out.
yeah, hop in, trust me. And a lot of people are just so, oh man, people got so frustrated in that first like day, and they're just so
Yeah.
angry. And I was like, guys, like I know they're like, I pre-ordered this and this is what I got. I'm like, ooh, this is why we do this. This is why they don't just wait till the game is like launch weekend and they're just like, I
Right.
hope it works.
Yeah.
Like go in there, break it now, make sure it works, down
Yep.
the line. So I love to do that sort of thing. I'm very lenient with it in that regard. When it
Yeah.
comes to like serious game
It's
time,
beta. Like, that's what it is.
yeah, it's a beta, and they were only supposed to give away like 2 of the javelins, but at the end we unlocked all 4 of them. I don't know if that was the game plan, but it seemed like they're trying to be like, all right, sorry guys, here's
Yeah,
you know,
maybe.
yeah. But yeah, try it out, Christine. I'm interested to hear what you think about it. I
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
try to get like Robin with you and like or a group. Try to get people comboing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's very Iron Man, especially the first guy you get. It's so you get like a little laser beam thing with him. Oh, it's
Nice.
freaking great. Um, yes. All right. Now it's time to move into my personal favorite segment of the show, community feedback and questions. And
Yay.
because we have a special guest on this week, we get to ask you questions from them.
Yay.
This one comes in from Dizflix and the Tidbits podcast, or Dizflix Tidbit. So I have to ask you your thoughts, even though you've talked about it, on Hunchback of Notre Dame live action. And what video game are you looking forward to this year? Maybe do the video game first because that's simpler.
Ooh. That's actually a good question, because I feel like it was Resident Evil, but now I have to
I
think
know it's now you can't do that anymore, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that already. And it's weird. I also feel like 2019 was such a crazy strong year for video games. And so 2019, I remember I was looking at what's coming out, and there wasn't as many things that I was like, I need this. Um, I would probably say the next From Software, I think.
Oh, Sekiro.
Yeah, because it's out in March.
Yep, not surprised. No, yeah, it is coming out in March.
It seems like it's going to be really different from their other stuff, but I'm like, knowing that I enjoy their past games so much, I feel like I'm open to it. Like, I'm ready to see what they got. So
Yeah, you got to get good at parrying. I've heard it's a lot of parrying. You got to be like, and then you can get your attacks in. You gotta. Yeah. She's like, that's fine with me. I'm fine with that. I'm over here. I'm like, finally, they added a grapple hook. Every good game's got a grapple hook, Christine. And weirdly, in March, that Devil May Cry 5 come out, both featuring characters with a sword, and they're missing an arm, and they use like a trick arm.
Interesting.
Right? Like the same.
What's that about?
No, and then also this came out, like Sekiro's coming out, Ghost of Tsushima's coming out. I
Right.
feel like it was reactionary to like people were thinking Assassin's Creed was going to do feudal Japan, and every other
Right.
company was like, make it before they do it. And Ubisoft's like, just wait, we'll do it eventually.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, but yeah, Sekiro. I know people are really stoked for that game, so I hope
I
it's.
can't believe it's so soon.
Yeah, man, the first few months of 2019 are ridiculous. And I know
Yeah.
you're excited. Kingdom Hearts is coming out like tonight. You're going to be freaking right there watching, ready to play.
But I want to give those games another chance. I just feel like I did. So I remember a friend of mine gave me her original PlayStation back in the day. I bought the games to play then, because this was before they came out, with the updated.
PS2
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
And I remember playing, I don't even remember where I was up to. It was a few hours into the game, and it just seemed like it was so slow. And I hadn't even gotten to the Disney characters part. So I don't even think that like it's a fair assessment. I'm not saying I dislike the games. I need to give them a chance. But at the same time, I feel like I need to like get through a bit of a grind in the beginning of the game and just like accept that that's what that is, and then I think I'll see it and I'll love it, you know.
Well, and you know what? Even as a fan myself, I totally get this. I was talking about it earlier today, but if you gave it a shot, you don't even have to give it a shot. Only do it. It's art. You can consume as much of it or as little as you want, and you shouldn't feel bad about like having that opinion. Like you're not a bad person or like someone who doesn't love video games if you don't love like this one series. You know, it's
That's
like
fair. I
yeah,
think I get a lot of crap though because I love video games and I love Disney. So people are always like, "So how have you not played all the Kingdom Hearts?" And I'm like,
yeah. I think that too. It's like Reese's peanut butter cup. You're like, oh, it's chocolate and peanut butter, but that's not always the combination. Like you know, like
"Right,
if you love
right,
those two things, it's like I love a lot of things, but it's not like they need to all be combined for me to love them, right? It's
that's
like,
fair."
yeah, that's why they don't have really good Godzilla video games. Oh my god. Anyway, yeah,
Hunchback.
Hunchback. Hit us with your Hunchback thoughts.
I'm excited. I'm scared.
Did you see Josh Gad getting ripped on
Yeah,
Twitter?
I mean,
Is he playing Quasi? Do you think
that's what they're saying.
he's got to be right?
They're saying he's playing Quasi. I feel like I don't love the idea, but at the same time, it's very hard to cast that. Like, I can't even, it's hard for me to think of someone else that would necessarily be better. It's not like there's an obvious, like, Josh Gad, it should totally be blah, blah. It's like, I don't know. I don't know who plays Quasimodo. It's just,
It's hard to cast.
I think the entire movie's a bit hard to cast, but I
Yeah.
think that they are, I'm putting my faith into it. I didn't love the Beauty and the Beast live action. Um, so I don't know. I mean, if it's coming, it's coming, and
Yeah.
if I'm the only person sitting in the movie theater watching it, that's okay.
I want to be right there with you. Might not be in the same state, but I'll see it. I'll see
But
this
my dream is that it comes out, people end up loving it, and maybe it introduces it to people who had never like seen the original. Maybe they'll want to see the original, and then in turn, I get my Hunchback merch. That's all I want, guys. I
one. They'll
just
have
want Hunchback merch.
They'll have it. I was thinking about this today. So we'll get Jeremy Irons as Frollo,
Mm.
Gal Gadot as Esmeralda. I know it's not perfect, but this is the ones I came up with. And Paul Rudd as Phoebus because he's kind of fun and he's kind of ripped. But I was thinking, well, if I do this, I'll make that joke. She'll be like, not him. I'll say Chris Evans as a joke, and he'd be like, how about Jeremy Renner? And if I just say Jeremy Renner, you'll be like, yeah, probably Jeremy Renner. Right?
I don't know if I could. I mean, somebody actually said to me, and I can never say his name, so I'm just going to say his character. But the guy who plays Jamie from Game of Thrones,
Right.
Nicolaj, I don't know how to say his name. And then I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, Phoebus is basically Jamie, except without all the horrible parts. So if we just throw that away, then he could, I mean, I could see it. That makes sense. Actually, it would actually be funny if it was Paul Rudd. But the problem is, wasn't, he had some humorous moments, but he wasn't like the comedic relief of the movie. So you wouldn't want somebody who is that.
Yes, I know. There's so many. One of my favorite parts is like Frollo's like he's like watch that woman or whatever, and he's like yes sir.
Sure.
Like he's just like totally. And that also the real comedic relief of that whole movie is dude who constantly gets imprisoned. The guy who's always getting out, who gets immediately trapped again. He's I'm free, I'm free. Dang it. Oh my gosh, good stuff. That guy kind of looks like old Jafar. Anyway, we'll do Disney theory later, but you're excited about it.
I mean, I'm confused.
You're cautiously optimistic. You're like, I want the merch.
Cautiously optimistic is the best way to put it. Like I'm also very confused as to why they're making this because I feel like of all of their movie, is it gonna make the money?
I don't know. I think with the Disney remake thing, that's the good train. Because like the other train is like kids' books, like Wrinkle in Time and Artemis Fowl, and that stuff isn't doing well. But Disney's like, let's just keep making these.
I just feel like Hunchback of all of their movies is just a weird one to decide to make.
Yeah,
At least
I agree.
I feel like they would dig for that bottom of the barrel like later on. And this is coming from someone who loves that movie, but I feel like most other people don't. I feel like they would do Hercules before they would do
Sure.
Hunchback.
Maybe because it's more manageable and it's darker. And people, especially our generation, they kind of like that darkness. And I think if you make that a live action movie, like maybe people will really get into it. I don't know. I hope it's good because like that they've got some incredibly good songs in there. Hellfire is one of my absolute favorite Disney songs ever. The way they shot that or do that in the film is just like, oh, how are you going to do that in live action? It's kind of like when they did Beauty and the Beast, and it was like, how are you going to do Be Our Guest? And they did it as good as they probably could have. That's what when I finished watching Beauty and the Beast, that's the whole movie. I was like,
This is as good as you could have done.
Yeah, I was like, there's no, if anyone's like the quality wasn't there, I'm like, how would you make it better? Like, I don't know what it would be. So yeah, Hunchback's actually one of my favorite Disney films. I like, so I'm right there with you. I'm hoping it's good too. We also have to get Mulan. We like that's another one that's going to be tough. That one might be a little more like serious though.
Yeah, well, apparently they're pulling the music out, even though there wasn't that much to begin with.
I'm like, I guess some of it's kind of like it is very macho man kind of thing. So I get why, but last question for you here, Christine, before we wrap it up. After the two back-to-back major successes in Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2 Remake, things are looking bright for the franchise, one being in first person and the other being in third person. Is there a preferred style that you would like to see in the next installment, or do you just trust that Capcom will gladly, or trust in Capcom and you will gladly play whatever they put out at this point? Also, do you have a favorite in the series? That comes from Fragginin.
Ooh, okay. So I think they've gained my trust back after Resident Evil 7. I did not, I played maybe 4 hours of 5 and was like, ugh, this is terrible. This is not the Resident Evil that I know. It's not scary. Having an AI person constantly with you just pulls a lot of the fear out.
Yeah.
I didn't bother with 6 because I heard all sorts of horrifying things. I saw the whole thing about Chris punching a rock, whatever. I was just like, that's it. I guess I'm just literally going to keep replaying like the first like 1 through 4 over and over again. When 7 happened, I was like, they finally listened to people. They're finally bringing it back to actual horror. It was such an interesting, different story. I know some people didn't love that idea, but I thought it was really neat. So I feel like if the series is going to continue in that vein or even continue that story, like if 8's going to be similar to 7, I'm totally down. There's already apparently now with 2 being so great, the reimagining, people want 3 to be reimagined. Apparently, producer said, if you guys want it, just like say you want, you know what I mean? Like it's up to you guys. So that would be cool. My favorite in the series is tough because they're all really good. For a very long time, it actually was 4, even though that was starting to change a little bit. But I just think it was so good. Like from start to finish, it was just so well done. I loved all the different areas. I liked Leon and his snarky, dumb jokes, and like the only thing I didn't like, which everyone didn't like, was Ashley. The girl didn't carry half the time. But I liked the idea of it. I liked the idea of the virus has now spread to another country. Like all of that was really cool, and then unfortunately led into whatever happened with 5 and 6. But I also, in my heart, really love 1. I think it was just so different for the time that it came out, and I've played like that, the remake version, the HD version, which is really cool. And I feel like the mansion's just so classic, you know. It was funny. I was going through Resident Evil 2, and I was like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like these puzzles were harder, or maybe they're not. I don't know. But I feel like Resident Evil 1's puzzles were actually hard. Like I actually had to like figure out what I was doing and, you know, backtrack and this and that. Whereas I feel like I was blowing through Resident Evil 2's puzzles a little too quickly. I like to be a little challenged. So,
you're just too good now. You're just too good.
I know. It's that Bloodborne just honed in my skills, you know?
Oh yeah, well, except for the fact that there's the biggest puzzling thing about Bloodborne. No, I was kidding. I was gonna say, what about the puzzles in Kingdom Hearts? Oh wait, you haven't played that. Okay. They're hard. It's not many puzzles. It's mostly how do I kill all these Heartless. That's usually the biggest puzzle. It's like how do I beat them to death with a Keyblade? Well, cool. Yeah. Well, Resident Evil. I'm excited that there's this resurgence, and obviously you're such a big fan of it. Maybe they'll just reimagine them. Would you ever want to see 1 done like the Resident Evil 2 remake?
Oh, that'd be awesome. But I feel like because they just did the HD one, I don't know how many years ago, it would be years before I think they touch it again. But oh man, that would be really, really cool. I would love to see that. More than 3, I think.
Sure. Cool. Well, I believe that's the show for this week. I know we could talk for hours and hours, but we're gonna keep it short because you know we if I start her on this Resident Evil thing or Bloodborne again, we'll have a quarter yell that goes for a century. It'll be great. Just opinions, just shouting back. It'll just be a shouting match. But if you ever, for listeners, have a question for the show or a topic, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to me. You can tweet at our official account, which is at Go Critical. It's a capital G and a capital C. Or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013. But if you just want to tweet at Christine, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, IvyWinterYT, and you can also find me on YouTube, Ivy Winter.
Exactly. I was gonna say, because usually we do like the pitch and stuff like that. But if you guys want to support anybody this week, please go support Christine. I recommend her channel. I'm a big Disney guy, and she covers Disney, and she actually has a lot of good videos. Even if you're a veteran of going down to Disney, such as myself, yours truly here, I still love listening to all these tips and this information. And a lot of this stuff is like can be very broad or can be hyper specific too, which is great. It'll be like, here are all the big mistakes you're making when you're planning your trip, or if you're going alone, like what to expect and how to kind of go throughout your day and what's pricing like, how to plan things out. I really recommend it. And if you enjoy that sort of thing, take that to the next level. Go check out the TTA podcast. They're wonderful. It's both Christine and her friend Rob, who from Rob Plays, and they talk about Disney stuff every week. It's really good. I'm always listening to it. I'm a big fan of it. Like I said, I listen to it like when I'm playing games and stuff, and I usually just like laughing along with them. And sometimes they'll say something, and I'll be like, "I completely agree," or I'm like, "I completely disagree." Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, please go check them out. They're wonderful. Yeah, tell them Jimmy sent you. So good. Let's see. Last few things I have to do here. Thank you to This Is Dale for our theme music. Thank you to the one and only Yorin Evers, the guy who does pretty much all the art you see here on the channel. If you want to support Yorin, go check him out at Naraj28 over on Twitter or at Jade Circle Art. But if you want to support him and us, check out our Patreon. That'd be great. That's all I'm going to say about that. Or you can check out our Spreadshirt and get a cool shirt like this one. It's also just yeah. I was like, ooh, this is fancy and fresh. I just got it the other day, so I'm like, I'm gonna wear it. Well, Christine, again, thank you for being on the show. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we leave here?
You're wrong about Bloodborne, and you're wrong about Infinity War. That's it.
Excellent. This is good. This is the first time I've ever had to fight with a guest. It's a new frontier, and I love it. It's beautiful and terrifying. Yes. Well, thank you for being on, even though I'm right about those things. And we'll see all of you next time. Just remember to adapt.